This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 4 of our series, Redefine Your Career, Transform Your Professional Identity. In this episode titled Strengths and Gifts, What You're Made For, we're going to explore how to identify your natural strengths and talents. So, if you've ever wondered what sets you apart in the professional world, let's dive in. About half of workers can't clearly name what they're naturally great at. Yet one major study found that people who use their strengths daily significantly outperform their peers. You're not broken, you're under-leveraged. So what are you actually built to do better than most? Most people try to figure out their career by asking, what's the next job I can get? A better question is, where do I consistently create unusual value with less effort than others? That's where your strengths and gifts usually hide, not in a personality label, but in repeatable patterns of impact. Research backs this up. People who can name and aim their top strengths don't just feel better at work, they literally learn faster, adapt quicker, and recover from setbacks more easily. Notice this isn't about ego or being the best, it's about being precise. Two people can share the same role, yet one becomes the go-to problem solver while the other becomes the trusted explainer. The title is identical, the strengths underneath are not. Your job now is to get specific enough that you could predict where you'll shine before you walk into the room. Some clues are already hiding in your calendar and your body. Notice the meetings you secretly look forward to, the tasks you tackle first without being asked, the work that leaves you pleasantly tired instead of drained. These aren't just likes, they're potential signals of where your mind is operating in its sweet spot. Neuroscience shows that when you're in that zone, your brain processes information more efficiently, which is why certain challenges feel oddly satisfying. The goal isn't to romanticize your job, but to get forensic. Where exactly does work feel a bit more natural, absorbing, or energizing than it should? Most people start this search by asking, what am I good at? That's too blunt an instrument. A better lens is, what kinds of problems do people reliably bring to me, and why me specifically? Not the ones your job description assigns, but the ones that somehow end up on your plate. Look for patterns in 3 places. 1. The compliments you dismiss. When someone says, you always make this so clear, or you're the only one who can get this group aligned, you might shrug it off as basic. That feeling, isn't this obvious, is a major red flag that you're sitting on a strength. If it were obvious, they wouldn't be grateful. 2. The roles you play in groups even when nobody asks. In meetings, do you naturally summarize, challenge assumptions, connect people, spot risks, or generate options? Those recurring roles are behavioral fingerprints. They show up in volunteer work, friendships, and family dynamics too, not just in your job. 3. The work that pulls you into flow at odd times. Notice when you lose track of time not because something is easy, but because difficulty feels engaging. For one person, that might be rebuilding a spreadsheet at 10 p.m. For another, rehearsing a presentation until the story clicks. The content varies, the underlying pattern, for example, structuring complexity, shaping narrative, troubleshooting, tends to be stable. These clues are more concrete than a generic label like strategic or creative. They help you answer questions such as, do I add the most value before the work starts, defining direction, in the middle, fixing as we go, or at the end, refining and stress testing? Do I do my best thinking with a blank page, a messy draft, or a finished product that needs critique? Do I shine more with ideas, with people, or with systems and processes? Research assessments can accelerate this, but they're tools, not verdicts. The real evidence is your track record, where your efforts produce outsized results compared to the time or stress you invest. Your challenge this week: treat your days like a field study. For 5 workdays, pick one recurring activity: team calls, writing, problem solving, customer interactions. Each time you do it, quickly note, What role did I naturally slip into? What felt strangely easy or satisfying? Then ask one trusted colleague, when do you see me at my best in this type of work? By week's end, you're not hunting for a grand calling. You're isolating specific conditions where you reliably perform like a sharper version of yourself. Some of your sharpest clues show up far from performance reviews. Think about the last time a friend or coworker said, "Wait, how did you do that so quickly?" Maybe you reworked a clumsy agenda into a clear plan on your commute home, or turned a chaotic group chat into a decision in 5 minutes. Those aren't random wins. They're micro-evidences of how your mind prefers to operate. One way to spot this: notice where others hesitate, but you feel a tug of curiosity instead of dread. Someone else stalls on a messy handoff, you're already mapping who needs what. Another person hates writing follow-up notes. You instinctively distill the meeting into 3 bullet actions. A useful test: if you had 90 minutes of discretionary work time each week that your boss couldn't question, what type of task would you quietly steal from others because you know you'd do it faster, cleaner, or with more satisfaction? The answer often points to a strength you haven't fully named yet. An AI coach may soon know your work texture better than any manager, quietly noticing where you light up and where you grind down. Used well, that data could nudge you toward projects that fit like a tailored jacket, not a borrowed uniform. But there's a catch. Systems will optimize for what they can see. If you don't actively experiment, speak up, and record where you do your best work, the algorithm will freeze an outdated version of you and keep recommending roles you've already outgrown. You don't have to name your whole calling at once. Start by testing small hunches. Volunteer for one task that feels oddly energizing, or tweak a routine job so it fits you 5% better. Watch what happens, like seasoning a dish and noticing which flavors suddenly pop. Over time, those tiny adjustments sketch a map toward work that actually feels like yours. Start with this tiny habit. When you close your laptop or put your phone down at the end of the day, say out loud one moment from today when you felt most alive or in your element, even if it was small, like explaining something clearly to a coworker or comforting a friend. Then add just 5 words to describe what you were doing in that moment. For example, listening deeply, solving tricky problems, making people laugh. Do this daily for 1 week so you start seeing the patterns of what you're actually made for, instead of guessing in your head. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!